You got the new kids on the block, Garrettsville Garfield, looking to shake things up and bring a storm into the MVAC. What do you got on Garfield, Ty?
I mean, this is the team that beat that Warren JFK team last year that went to state. It's a team that was 9-1 last year, and it's a team that's returning a lot of starters. Looking at Garfield, they were a team that averaged over 30 points scored per game last season. Another one of those teams that are in the Gray division of the MVAC, returning a lot of starters. Guys to highlight: Anthony Dema, the senior running back that looks to be so good for the Garfield offense this year. Riley Laporte, offensive lineman. Austin Roman, another offensive lineman. Peyton Yancey, another offensive lineman. I mean, 3 big offensive linemen that are returning that are going to be huge for protection of both Dema as well as Ryan Stoller, another running back that they're going to be using. It's kind of a 2 running back tandem that they use over there in Garfield, I believe. And then Brody Swigonski, their quarterback, is coming back this year too. All seniors. So it's going to be a senior-heavy team is Garrettsville Garfield. And it's going to be a team that is going to be very fun to watch, I think, on the offensive side of things.
Yeah, and one of the things that I remember about watching a couple of Garfield games last year when they would play YSN teams, man, were they good in the clutch? I mean, when they needed something or it was a big game in the moment, we'd bring back that Mooney playoff game. They came up with big-time plays when they needed it most. They're a team that has that standard of winning. They don't like losing at all. 9-1 last year. They just know how to win, and sometimes that's something that you just can't coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it helps too when you have offensive weapons like Dema, who had 1,300 plus yards last year rushing. I think that was most in the MVAC Gray tier division, as well as guys like Swigonski, the quarterback, who had 9 touchdowns and 2 picks last year. Very efficient, doesn't turn the ball over that much. I mean, it's an offense that just runs like a well-oiled machine. They know where they need to be. Everyone knows their assignments. It's a very do your job type of offense.
Yeah, and do your job. That's a great analogy because, like I said, they're just they're a team that knows the standard. They don't have to be told this is what we have to do to win. And I think that's one of the characteristics of a team like that. Everyone just does their job and trusts everyone else to do their job because they know everyone knows what the standard is. They don't have to worry about some guy on the offensive line being lazy or something. So that's why they can trust each other enough to just do their job, only their job, not worry about the guy next to them not doing his.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, going into Garfield's defense too, this was a team that allowed less than 20 points per game last season. And it's another one of those teams that scores high and holds you low. And I mean, it's pretty much all 2-way players. So all the guys you heard me talk about on offense, you're going to hear me talk about on defense. Some other guys to highlight, though, that are on defense. Dema plays both running back and defensive back. Jesse Grace is a linebacker for them, junior linebacker. John Hunza is a senior linebacker for them. And then, of course, Laporte plays both offensive line and defensive line. And then their quarterback, Swigonski, plays both quarterback and defensive back. But a very good secondary, as you see, very good linebackers, a good defensive line. They have pieces all over. 7 returning starters on defense. So you're looking at pretty much the same team as last year. Little bit of holes, but holes that I think Coach Moser feels like he could fill pretty well with the team he has behind him because he has great depth as well.
Yeah, there are no spots in that defense where you say, well, we can really expose this part, or we can really attack this cornerback or what have you. They're just going to be solid on offense, solid on defense. Maybe not doing one thing exceptionally great, but doing everything well. And when you do everything well, sometimes that's better than doing 1 or 2 things great.
If this defense improves even a little bit on what they did, you're talking about a top 5 defense in the area easily. Because I mean, if this team averages even less than 19 points a game, I mean, you're talking almost in the neighborhood of allowing just 2 scores a game. And I mean, that is almost impossible for any team to come back from if this team's averaging over 30.
The MVAC better be taking notes on these names because they might not know them now, but they're going to know some of these names really quick when they're starting to prepare for Garfield.
And I mean, to talk about it on the other side too, and play a little bit of devil's advocate too, Garfield coming into a whole new division and whole new competition. They haven't seen the LeBrays, the Crestviews, and the Brookfields of the world as much. So getting to play all three of them now in a season is going to be interesting, which I guess will transition right into us looking at their schedule.
That's a professional segue right there, Ty. Good job.
But we're looking at it non-conference play. We're looking August 20th at Cardinal, 27th versus Lakeview, and September 3rd. They're getting that rematch against Warren JFK at Warren JFK, though, this year.
That's going to be a big one because JFK wants it,
And I mean, JFK as a team too, and I know we're gonna talk about them when we talk about all the independent schools and all the best of the rest schools that we have that aren't complete conferences. But Warren JFK is one of those teams. Yeah, you lose Cam Hollabaugh, which is a huge loss. We know all the records he holds for sports in that school, but that team knows they're pretty good. They went as a team to the state championship game, and they're kind of tired of everyone saying that was a one-man show, because as good as Cam Hollabaugh was, and he is a phenomenal athlete, and we wish him all the best. We know what he's going to do great things at Walsh, but as far as what we're concerned with the team, JFK knows they're a solid team, and that's going to be a great game against Garrettsville Garfield.
And for those of you wondering, next week, to close out our football previews, we're going to have one show where it's the independents and the teams that are playing in conferences that we just don't have the whole conference. We're going to call them the best of the rest, and JFK is included in that. That'll be next week, the final day of our football previews to close out our wonderful football previews. And sometimes you finish with the best of the rest. I mean, let's go. So we're looking forward to that. And JFK is looking forward to Garfield coming into Mollenkopf Stadium.
Yeah, and then looking into conference play, they start out home versus LeBray, home versus Newton Falls, home versus Champion, at Campbell, home versus Crestview, at Brookfield, and at Liberty. Before I even circle a game on there too, I just want to say that favorable that almost all the big-time matchups are at home, though, for this Garfield team.
They get to come to a new league, and they don't have to travel too much. I mean, that's a rolling out the red carpet for Garfield in the MVAC scheduling department.
Absolutely. But if there is one away game I'm looking at, it's October 15th at Brookfield. Yeah. And it's a game where, like we said, this might be a 4-team. Heck, it might be a 6. It might even be an 8-team race trying to get that number one.
Week 1, it's definitely an 8-team race. We'll see what it is in week 5 and week 6. But
yeah, but I mean, we're talking now. That's week 9 too. So I mean, this might be. You're talking there might be a game that separates 3 or 4 teams here at this point, and you would like to think Brookfield and Garrettsville Garfield are both going to be 2 of those 4 teams we're talking about at the end of the season. Being at Brookfield is probably the testiest away game that they have on this season, where it's going to be hard to go into Brookfield and come out victorious.
And one of the home games, I mean, you can't talk about Crestview. You got to talk about that Crestview game. It's a rematch of the playoffs last year. Garfield's returning almost everyone. Crestview's losing a lot. Garfield's going to be the most motivated team to win that game, because all those players know that Crestview ended their season last year. They don't want a repeat of last year's playoff game to happen again.
No, and it's a home game sandwiched by 2 away games, Brookfield after Crestview, Campbell Memorial before Crestview. And we talked about both these teams already. Campbell Memorial is a team that could sneak a win on you if you're too focused and looking ahead on Crestview too much and not focused on Memorial. They're a team that could surprise you, especially them playing at home.
Is that Campbell game a trap game?
It could be. It could easily be. Looking at Crestview and Brookfield ahead, you're home versus Crestview and then at Brookfield. It could be easily, and then Champion the week before, home versus Champion the week before. You might think of that as a little light blip in your schedule, and you can't look at Campbell Memorial at that, because they will make you pay.
Can't wait to talk to their coach. I'm wondering how, obviously in the media, he's going to be, we're taking every game seriously, but I wonder in the mindset of the young kids and trying to understand a teenager, don't try it. It'll be, you'll get lost in the realm of their mind. How seriously they're going to take this new conference in every team in it. One of the wonders, and that's why I think Campbell might just be a trap game, because it's a brand new opponent, and they know all they know is what they did last year. How seriously is that team going to take Campbell? I don't know. I hope maybe they're mentally tough. Maybe they take every game seriously and they just roll right through. But maybe they're looking too far ahead to Crestview, and Campbell comes in and, like I said, team that can throw a monkey wrench into the conference, beating Garfield in that game, throws a big monkey wrench because there's a chance Garfield either splits or drops the next two too.
Yeah, we talked about both Campbell being one of those teams, and that other game too, that last game of the season at Liberty too. That is not going to be a pushover game for Garrettsville Garfield, and you're looking at Crestview Brookfield and at Crestview at Brookfield at Liberty to end your season. You're going to need to get some wins there to get into the playoffs too, and you don't want to look at Liberty as that's a guaranteed win because it's going to be a tough, rough and tough game too.
Especially coming after those two games. I mean, you're not going to exactly be 100%. I'm assuming.
Oh no, and I mean we know how much physical and physicality is going to be in that Crestview and that Brookfield game. And you're right, they might come into Liberty a little bit beat up. So I mean those games, Campbell Memorial and Liberty are both, I think, trap games too, especially like you said, for a team coming into a conference. They don't really know the opponents super well. Those are both trap games, and you just hope that coach has them prepared and ready, and you're looking for some good games out of those two.
Just to flip the coin, it also means that the other teams don't know Garfield too well either. I mean, they're going to have to do some serious scouting and serious film studies on those conference games. So it's kind of the even boat. They're both in the same boat. You just wonder, like I said, the mental toughness and the mental aptitude of Garfield to take every game seriously. Hopefully they do, because we'd hate to see a team that is as high expectations of Garfield kind of stub their toe on.
I mean, they're a team, like we said, that is pretty much all seniors. They're returning pretty much everything that came out last year. This is a team that, I mean, granted, let's see what they do in the season. They haven't played a game yet, but I mean, basing it off of last year, this is a team you can expect making deep playoff runs, maybe even state championship runs. This is a team that I think you're talking about very good on defense, very good on offense. If they step up on both those or even one of those and it becomes great on defense, you're talking a top five team, defense or offense in the area. You're looking at a team that can very easily make a deep playoff run and even make it into the state championship picture.
You look at the Division 5 map and the way teams break down, we might be talking about a collision course all season from South Range and Garfield, both Division 5, and that might be one of the games that we start to see formulating in the third week of the playoffs.
It seems like that's the matchup that we're looking for right now, because both teams solid on offense and defense. Both, if they can make that next step, you expect them to be able to make it to that state championship picture. But they got to get to each other first. And I don't know if they're going to meet later or earlier, but we know you're going to have to go through a gauntlet in Division 5 to come out of it.
Everyone knows Division 5 is thoroughly owned by Kirtland right now. I mean, it's not a surprise. It's not a secret.
Until somebody beats them too. Until somebody beats them, it's theirs. But we've had some teams try to knock on that door. Can the G-Men or South Range be that team? That we know South Range met them last year, couldn't get it done. But I mean, it's a team that, we want them here in Northeast Ohio. We want Kirtland. We want them for the YSN family. We want one of our teams to go there and take them out.